Hi everyone, here is Ricardo Vargas and this is the 5 Minutes Podcast. Recently, some friends asked me, Ricardo, how do you scan the environment to understand which type of risks, which type of trends we need to be aware, for example, to protect our projects or to benefit our projects from potential opportunities? And I explained what I do. So first, of course, during the whole year, I try to get informed by, of course, the media. For example, I subscribe several magazines, newsletters. But one important point I want to highlight here is that I do not subscribe to only one point of view a magazine. And I like to subscribe to magazines that present a very different contrast. I would say, please, I'm not saying politically, and I'm just explaining this for the sake of this episode. It's not from the left or the right in terms of political views, but I want to see, of course, I read from the left to the right on political views too, but I want to see different views. I don't want to read 10 newspapers where all of them agree with the same thing. I want to see the disruption. I want to see a different thinking. Why? It's not because they impact me, but they make me see things through different lenses. And at this time that is close to the end of the year, I do for many, many years that I like very much to reading one publication from The Economist, the magazine The Economist, called The Year Ahead. It used to be The Word In, and it's an amazing publication talking about the trends, what may happen in the upcoming year. And I do that not because I have any influence on what will happen next year, but at least I know what is the current thought in terms of trends, in terms of geopolitical trends, in terms of business trends, in terms of taxes, tariffs, movement of goods. Why? Because all of this impact dramatically my personal projects, and they impact dramatically the projects I'm working with. So I need to have, because at least these will help me to craft better risk responses. It will allow me to prepare more, for example, for an unfavorable scenario in my project. What I cannot do is just to be blind to these type of events, saying, no, nothing will happen until it happens. So this is what I love, the concept of environmental scanning. I do this pretty much every day. I spend something like 15 to 20 minutes to know what's going on, to know what is in the news, to know what I should do, how I should do, what can be the impact, for example, of a global trade war in the projects I'm doing. I'm not a policymaker, but in my projects. Because some of us may think, oh no, these will not affect us because I'm for example, my clientele, is a local clientele. Don't be naive. Everything is far more connected to what we think. So we need just to be mindful. And this is why, for example, I love to do this environmental scanning. And this is exactly what I'm doing now with the big ideas. So because I'm releasing these 10 ideas, one per day, I was not the one who built them. No, not at all. But based on what I read already, based on all these reviews of 2024, and also looking ahead of 2025, I decided to put these 10 ideas that are affecting me. And I decided to share these with a broader audience through these posts on LinkedIn, on my YouTube channel. Because to foster this discussion, to foster us to think that maybe we will have a project management as a digital twin, doing the tasks of a project. We may have that. I'm not saying we will, but we may have, for example, mixed reality, bringing all the technology to our workplace where we will maybe navigate inside a project environment without physically being inside the project. We are talking about the sense of purpose of Gen Z, the Generation Z, that they are not looking just for a profit or for a bottom line at the end. I'm not saying that they don't care about money. Of course, they care about money, but it's not only about that. So these kind of trends are very helpful for all of us to give us insight on which direction we should shift our gears towards the future. So this is how I do that. It's by reading, by taking very different perspectives, and by challenging myself many times when I have a common sense thinking. Because common sense is super dangerous. Because when you think common sense, then most of the time you become blindfolded to different things that may arise, that may, create a surprise in the way you see things. So think about that, and you will see more big ideas coming up. And this is part of all my efforts I'm doing to help people to navigate towards these changes in our personal projects and also our working projects or our company or our job projects, okay? I hope you enjoyed this podcast and see you next week with another 5 Minutes podcast.